Well, I can say this about Daiva. It's ambitious. It's a strategic shoot-'em-up war game space opera with the most detailed graphics we've seen so far on the Famicom. And it interacts with 6 other games. Let's back up a moment. Daiva was Toshiba's attempt to launch a space opera epic across the multimedia spectrum. And as part of it, they released 7 games across a couple of months. Each game having only part of the story, and each on a separate platform. Though honestly, a couple of the platforms could play 2 of the games. The Famicom one is Game 6, subtitled Imperial of Near-Sartia. Collectively, the games tell the story of a space war against, somebody. Look, the project was a huge flop, and it seems like nobody cares to even remember these games. So I couldn't find any kind of plot synopsis or anything like that. I did find out that in the comic that was supposed to tie everything together, they blanked out the word balloons that had a lot of the explanation of the story. Game 7 was delayed and they wanted to avoid spoilers. A lot of the media around the Daiva project never seems to have materialized, though there is a choose-your-own-adventure book that spins off of the Famicom game. That's a lot of build-up to explain a very weird game. Let's get into Daiva, Imperial of Near-Sartia. The main character of this one is the space pirate Matari Shoban. He's a young man dreaming of glory, and is drawn into the war after stealing something vital. Starting out, it'll immediately let you enter a password, and then it'll have you select a difficulty level. You only get the passwords to affect other games if you play on the 4th one. Then the game proper begins, and you're on this map screen. These bars on the right indicate how built up your planets are, and that mainly affects how quickly you can add ships to your fleet. There's a mini-map on the right, and your home base is the orange planet in the middle. The red spots are enemy-controlled planets. The controls are from the perspective of the ship, so you press forward to accelerate, and then turn left and right. If you want to stop at a planet, you'll have to slow down when you get there. Upon arriving at a planet, you get this screen that lets you see what resources you'll get for controlling it. And if that's one you want to take over right then, you hit the A button. You're then informed of how strong the enemy are, and how strong the gravity on the planet is. You also have this map of the planet's surface, and these icons above it are things that you can place to help you in your battle. The battles are a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up with a little bit of platforming elements, and the 3 items you can place are a missile barrage, that will launch attacks at enemies in that area, a bomb that will wipe out all enemies on the screen when it hits, and most importantly, a shield recharge. With those in place, you hit start to begin the battle. The side-scrolling action genuinely looks pretty good. It plays horribly. You have to hit up to jump for some reason, even though the B button isn't assigned to anything. And the scenery becomes kind of complicated. Nothing stops you from moving to the right, but you can stand on everything. So that means that you'll fall down if there's nothing underneath you, but you can also just walk through things. Those backgrounds look amazing, but the way that you interact with them just doesn't work. Oh, and the screen is always moving forward even though you're not walking. So in sections where you'll want a platform, the ground moves out from underneath you while you stand still. Another odd thing is that everything that the enemy tosses out is hittable. That means you can shoot down all of their bullets. And you're going to encounter enemies that aren't visible, but you'll still hit them anyways. These shoot-'em-up sections are absolutely gorgeous, and not very fun to play. If you reach the end of the level, you'll be faced with a giant biomechanical horror you have to destroy. It'll have a few spots that regularly fire attacks, and you'll have to shoot those out. Defeat it, and the planet is yours. While you're doing all of this, the enemy isn't sitting idle. They're building a star-destroying weapon, and if you can't liberate the star system before it's complete, then you automatically lose. There's another thing the enemy can do, and that's invade to take back the planets you've captured. When they're doing that, you take your ship and collide it with them, and that initiates a strategic battle. Admittedly, not the most strategic of battles. You lay out a formation for your ships, and then when the turn starts, everyone takes turns firing. There might be a way to improve your odds in this, but the documentation doesn't have any stats for the ships, and so the only strategy I can give you is to have more guys than they do. Daiva is such a strange game. It's a lot of half-baked ideas wrapped up in a pretty shell. It makes me wonder that if perhaps the project wasn't so ambitious, that there could have been a good game salvaged from this mess. There's so much creativity on display here, it makes me wish that this was a better game so that I could enjoy it.